Now then, people, good evening and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and another edition of The Final Word. You've got an awesome foursome with you tonight. Myself, Lockie, which your hair looks like it's slowly growing into a mullet, bro. Are you growing a mullet out?
I've got it behind the ears, old fucker.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I was like... we've got Matty down below. Matty, how are you? Looks like you're growing a little Freddie Mercury tash there.
I know, mate. I know. Our lass is giving me grief, mate, but I just like to piss it off now and again. You know what I mean?
Do it, mate. It's Movember.
Yeah, we'll go with that,
month. Yeah, just do that till end of month. And we've got the newlywed, Mr. Joe Lynch. Joe, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah. All good.
Is it Ireland's best ever love story to go from the show to now Mr. and Mrs. Lynch?
I think we're the second couple to get married from it.
Oh,
the show. Yeah. I keep getting people saying they didn't know. Me and Jess met on first dates, and then we're friends for a year without dating. She moved in here with me for a year during COVID without dating, and then she wanted to move out, and I didn't want her to go, and then she just said she didn't want to go, and we started seeing each other, and now we're married.
So sorry to ask this, but in that year during COVID, where you were just mates, there was nothing, at all.
Wow.
Wow.
Spent a lot of time just getting to know each other. We were just mates. She was my best mate. Still is my best mate. We're just best mates, and we got on great. And we spent time getting to know each other and just hanging out and getting through COVID together. And we had some great nights. We dancing in our kitchen on a Friday night, listening to dance music and electronic with Jenny Green, and it was deadly. It was great. So, but then when it came to an end, you're kind of looking at it, kind of going, I don't want this to stop. I like this. This is good. We're good together. So we we know each other inside out and back to front because we were friends. There's no secrets. There's no, all the skeletons were seen very early on by both. So yeah,
love it. Nice. Ireland's greatest ever love story. You heard it here first, folks. The Lynch marriage. Right. Okay. That's all the positive stuff out of the way. Let's talk about yesterday.
Leeds second Bielsa. There's a positive for you. He's available. Or might be available again.
We shall see. Leeds United lost on the road, second time this season, 1-0 against Millwall. Millwall now the most informed team in the league. We got Millwall, Neil Harris special, if you like, 1-0. Leeds, it just felt like we'd seen the movie before. The mad thing is, I guess for me, Lockie, I expected it in a sense. I'd said in my preview, first goal wins it. It'll be 1-0 either way. It's going to be one of them games. We can't give away silly fouls. We've got to win second balls. We didn't do them things. They score. And I said at half time, I was talking to Joe earlier on, and this really made me think, because I think he made a good point, because at half time I'd said on the watch along, it's finishing now. It's 1-0. We won't come back. And then Jared's made the point on a message earlier on, just saying to me, that's not good. And then I've sat and pondered it actually this afternoon and thought, actually, I shouldn't be then resigned to the fact that we are going to lose that game 1-0. But it just felt like once they scored, mate, it was going to go that way.
Do you know what, Jaws? It's about 20 minutes in, they'd won about 5 or 6 fouls, had about 2 or 3 1 or 2 corners. And every time they got it in box, they won the first header. It was dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I kind of went, oh no. And we weren't creating much, and I'm thinking, oh no, it's going to be one of them. Because if they've worked on that at training and they're really good at it, which clearly they have, eventually you'll get one if you keep giving it them. And we just kept giving them little opportunities. And it took 2 or 3 minutes to set everything up when every time they got a free kick, they were proper set up for it. And then, it kind of creeps into you, don't it? You kind of go, oh, it's going to be one of them. And it is bad that you kind of sit there. I agree with you at half time. I was like, what are we going to do there?
Yeah.
Because I just don't think we did enough individually obviously individual and as a team, but as a team individually, if that makes sense. I don't think anyone stood out and went, watching that game going, he's going to win it for us. He's going to win it for us. We're going to do this, do that. It was just all a bit meh. Well, very meh. And it's speaking to Jerry, and I said it was probably the first game this season for me where I can't, even when we've not been great, we've had big chances. I don't think we really did, bar maybe the non-awarded that I can remember. And that's even we dominated the ball, we dominate out of possession. We're very good at that. But then little clinical bits at the end to create chances, we didn't really have that. For me,
I think I agree. Like I've said with chess, like even when we got beat by Burnley, by far the better side. Norwich, I thought they gave us a real test. Sunderland, we were by far the better side. But Millwall, and I think Vega's got it bob on in the comments, Jay, he says they neutralised us to a man. Yes, they might have only had 20-odd% possession, but their game plan won out. Their game plan was perfect. How Neil Harris would have dreamt that game to go the night before went exactly how he wanted it to go, Jay, you know?
Are you surprised by that?
No, that's what I mean. No.
Is anybody surprised by that?
No.
Is anybody shocked that Millwall played the way they played yesterday? Was anyone caught off guard by that at all? Because it appears the only person was us that were caught off guard by it.
Just the light show at the start shocked me. Yeah.
Well, you must have lured us into a false sense of security. They're a family club now.
Did you hear them booing it, by the way? They were all booing it
as well. Yeah. Sure, look, you know, Millwall will do Millwall. Had a still a football club at this point. They've done to players over the years. Who knows? But anyway, this isn't about Millwall. It's about us because we knew exactly how they were going to play. Every single content creator who's ever made a video about Millwall has said this about Millwall. Every coach, every analyst, every sports psychologist, all these people will know exactly how this game was going to pan out, how Millwall were going to play. And yet we got caught by trap after trap after trap after trap. Don't give away free kicks in wide areas. Within a minute and a half, we're giving a free kick away in a wide area. Don't give silly free kicks away. The goal comes from an unnecessary foul in an area that normally you think, yeah, it's fine to foul there. Not against these, it's not.
All they did is just, whenever they got a free kick, Jay, even if it was central, they just worked an angle to the wide man, and then he just put it straight in. Do you know what I mean?
Me and Lockie are just talking about Leeds corners, and why the hell do we keep taking corners and we don't do anything for them? Why not just play it short and change the angle, change the approach? Millwall did it. Millwall did Millwall. And again, we talked about this a while ago. Like, Leeds had 70%, 78% possession, but only had 3 shots on target and 4 shots on target in the entire game. Millwall at 28% managed 3 on target. So there's only 1 shot on target in the difference between that and Leeds at all the ball, which suggests that Millwall's game plan was to do what used to beat Leeds last season. Be physical, sit deep, and wait. You'll get your opportunity and then take it. And they took it. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around it, but the goal, the silly free kick, giving away the ball in. I find it hard to criticize defenders when they're running backwards trying to head a ball because you're leaning back and you don't get as much jump and you've got a 6'7" giant going over the top of you who's got momentum. But then Stroke switches off and doesn't mark Tanganga, and then it's put in the bottom corner, and you're like, we've seen this before. Why does this keep happening? Why are we not We talk about other teams. Millwall mentioned about they'll have worked on stuff. They'll know how they're going to win the game. They'll work on things. But Leeds seem to just go into this game with the same kind of idea for every single game. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Maybe it's a bit of ego. We're better. We can just go and smash these teams. We've been told by every single manager in the league this year that's the best team we've played this year. We're still third. We're still not top, but we're everybody's best team that we've played against. Something's not right there. Something's missing and something's lacking, and we're not learning from the mistakes of the past. And that's where my issue is with the game. It's all too familiar, all too similar. And to be very, very clear, I'm critiquing a performance, not saying sack the manager. They're 2 very different things. But
when does it? Can I ask you though, Joe? When does it? Because I was having this conversation earlier on.
Yeah, it's getting there.
When does it become not untenable? That's the wrong word. Untenable makes it sound like. But so
when
people
you make a decision,
yeah, people are rightly coming to me and saying, "But you said front and center. You said this. You said that." So I'm going. But I think for me, Joe, the only time that I will make a decision is when I believe in my head that we won't go up. When we won't. If we're halfway through the season and we're still in top 6 and there's a gap, I'm going, right, so we need to change because this shouldn't be happening. That's my thought. As soon as I go, we're not going to get top 2, then that's when I would want to change. That's where my head.
And that's where the issue is, Joe. Not your issue, but that's where the danger with this decision. That's why this is a huge call to make. And that's why it shouldn't be taken lightly. It shouldn't be a snap decision of sack the manager, because realistically, is there a better candidate to get you out of the league? Probably not right now. So they're probably better at what you've got than bringing somebody in. But there is a moment in it where you're going to go, when is it too late to make the change? And when is it too early to make the change? And trying to find out, if you have to make a change, what it is. I'm not saying we should right now, but we're still not top of the league. We got into 2nd place and we were 2 points clear for a week. Last season, we saw that happen as well. As soon as we got there, we fell away. We got there, we've fallen away immediately. I spoke to Lockie a while ago about duels in the match as well. If you look at the actual duels during the game, Millwall won 58% of the duels, which is second balls, 50-50s, all of that. We're not physical enough. The backbone's not there. And I wonder, is it there to be a top 2 side as well? Like, when we get there, is it too much? You know, and then the question marks are, is the tempo issue a player issue, or is the tempo issue a manager issue? And then we still don't know the answer to that. But we've been looking at a Leeds team that when we see slow tempo, we all know this is going to be a slog. Leeds are dominating possession. Yeah, but they're moving the ball at 2 miles an hour and everyone's taking 3 and 4 touches before they pass the ball. And that's against a low block. That's just feeding into how they play football. They'll just drop in, get their low block. They've had plenty of time because you're micking around with the ball inside your own half. They just drop in and get their shape, job done. But when Leeds are really quick, they're just a different football team completely. They're a phenomenal side to watch when they move the ball fast. But we just seem to be reluctant to do it too often. And when we do it, Watford, Norwich, we get scared and then stop doing it again. Immediately you kind of back off and go, well, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. We're gonna leave ourselves open. You're 2-0 up against the side after 10 minutes. Go for the jugular. You're 3-0 up against Plymouth at half time. Go for the jugular. We don't. We drop off. We sit off. We're happy with what we have. And the problem with that is, and I've said this to you last year, we talked about it an awful lot, performances will catch up on you. And Leeds over the last couple of games, the performance level for me has been dipping. The type of performance has been dipping. It's not been as dominant as we would think. Oh, we've taken the foot off the gas. And there's more in this team, I think. I think this team has gears and levels, and I don't think we're getting to them. But we have seen glimpses, and I just want to see Leeds move the ball quicker. I want to see us getting behind, but we shouldn't be shocked for a second, Joe, with how Millwall played. We should be worried that we didn't appear to know how Millwall were going to play and did nothing to negate how they were going to attack that game.
Do you not think, though? I think sometimes, just in response to that, I mean, they've done that in the last 4 games. And I think it's 7 times this season they've left their opponents with less than 1 XG. So you've got to give them credit as well, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, but they've won 1-0 in the last 4 games, back-to-back wins, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And that's Neil Harris. The question is this. Well, not the question, but the point is this, I suppose. If you're happy with that, if you accept that, and I've got a list of excuses that I want to go through, because we talked at the start of the season about holding them accountable and holding the team accountable and not settling for excuses. No excuses. I've got a list that we're all starting to just fall into accepting because they've been said quite a lot. I'll get to that in a minute, but that's part of it as well, is like, well, give Millwall credit, which is what Farkas said. You've got to find a way to beat these teams. You want to be a Premier League team. Do you think this side's going to do well in the Premier League if you can't beat Millwall? No. Like, you've got to find ways to break these teams down because you're not going to be the dominant side when you go to the Premier Division. So you're going to have to figure out ways of winning games when you don't have the ball because you're struggling to win some games when you do have the ball. So you've got to find different ways. And again, yesterday we saw the plan B of lump everybody up front and hope for the best. And we lost our structure. We had Pirro playing as a holding midfielder. We had Bamford, Joseph, and Pirro all outside the box when Dan James was crossing the ball at one point. No structure at all. Not a plan B. It doesn't work and we keep doing it. Like, when are we going to learn the lesson of, if it doesn't work, do something else? Not the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, if you've got a second, I'll go through the excuses, which if you want.
Let me come back to you. Let me come back to you first. We will do that.
Sure.
But I wanted to bring Matty in because I know Matty, I've had a voice note from you earlier on. You're quite angry with maybe how some people are seeing the 1-0 loss and maybe making it worse than what it is, Matty. I think that's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite hard to compete with these two tonight because these two know a lot more than I do. But
give all, man.
It's just, I don't know, lads. It's when you look at the game, like you say, you can criticise the performance, but I think everyone's just going a little bit too far with it. Me, reading comments and stuff. I don't tend to stay on social media too much anyway, but having a YouTube channel now, you've got to sort of delve in it. So I'm seeing a lot more now than I did say last season or previous years. But like, I just think the tempo, like Jared always goes on the tempo, that weren't there last night. I feel like, their game plan was to do exactly what they did. Play with 25% possession and get away with a 1-0 win. Does that mean they played better than us because they executed their game plan? Because for me, we may have lost the game, but they didn't play better football than us. But they delivered on their game plan because ultimately the result went their way. But is it fair to say that they outplayed us? And I mean, I've seen content creators in the Leeds sphere actually say the title of their video, outplayed by Millwall with no question mark. I think that's ludicrous. I don't think we was outplayed by Millwall at all. They had a game plan. They played to their strengths, fair enough. And it's down to us as players and, Premier League players, a lot of them players, to obviously beat teams like this. But one of those excuses, what Joe's probably going to touch on is, we can't keep saying every week, you can't win every game. But that is something that you can't do. You know, you can't win 46 out of 46. We saw Man City get beat by Bournemouth. These things happen. But I do think when they always bring it back to Farke, I agree with you throwing people on at the end, just gun-ho. I don't agree with that. I don't think that works at all. And I think when we actually got all those forwards on pitch, we didn't put the ball in box half as much as we had for, you know, previous 80 minutes. So I do think he's accountable in some areas. He leaves his subs late. But, you know, a lot of people keep harping on saying, oh, I feel nervous because it's reminding me of last year. Oh, it's reminding me of last year, this performance. And fair enough. Give me 90 points now and we'll be in Premier League next season. So do you get what I mean? Like, I get people.
I never thought about it like that. It is brilliant.
It is so.
That's a very fair point.
They keep harping on that last season, right? Okay, give me the 90 points now. We won't play another game, and we'll play against whoever wants to stay at Premier League season. But it's right,
That's so true.
I understand. You know, there's certain elements that people worry about last season in certain games were lost, but overall, like we always say, we'll get 90 points. 85 will probably get you up in top 2 this year. We will get 90 points just based on the fact that that's what Farke does. And the league's weaker. So I think overall, and I'm sure Jared and Lockie will agree, overall, I think we're all still confident we'll go up. And ultimately, like you always say, Joe, you know, these Farke outs will eventually be right. Maybe halfway through next season, we hit a bit of bad form, and ultimately they will be right eventually. But right now, I just think it's a bit too full on when you read so much stuff, and I can't actually believe we're third, maybe fourth tonight, 4 points off top. We were 15 points off top this time last season. The league's not as strong. You know, we will be there. You're obviously going to have games like this, and it's frustrating. And, you know, I'm sure we've all had a crap day today. But luckily, we play again on Saturday. And I am concerned about us away form, don't get me wrong. I know I'm harping on a bit, but the away form does concern me. I mean, that's what 3 draws and a loss. It's concerning because we always say a draw away and a win at home, and you'll be there or thereabouts. But eventually, we need, you know, it's all right against your Sunderlands and your Norwiches, but your Bristols and your Millwalls, you need to be picking up some wins along the way as well. So that away form bothers me. But ultimately, if it's reminding people of last season, I'll take that because we got 90 last season. So that's where I'm sort of at with it.
It's an excellent point because you're dead right. If we do exactly, if we replicate the remainder of this season like last year, we're golden. But we did have a record leveling run of wins last season at this point. And if we don't hit a record running phase again, then we won't hit 90 points this
That's
season.
fair.
That's fair. The point. Because where we are this year versus last year, there's 1 point of a difference. Now, somebody said online to me, we've got a better goal. We've conceded less goals, which would suggest to me that we should be in a better position than we actually are, but we're not. We're only 1 point better off. And that's taken this season where we've had a year with most of these players to work with them. We've had the disappointment of missing out on the playoffs final, but we got there. You've had we've lost a couple of players, but so has everybody else. And they have. Everyone keeps saying we lost our best players, but so did Sheffield United, so did Burnley, so did Sunderland. But they're all still there and they're still getting on with it. Last season, we had a takeover, a ground trying to be leveraged for a sale. We had the new owners coming in, no manager until very, very late, players coming in late, but we're 1 point better off than that now. Now, for me, we should be much better off than that. And then the rest of the year, we can talk about record runs or struggling or whatever else, but we should have started better than we did last year.
What kind of points return should we have?
I'd like to see us in a more of a stronger position than go back to last year, John, that first month of the season. It was a disaster for us. And we talked about it at length during the summer that we can't have that again. But here we are. 13, 14 games in, and we're only 1 point better off. Now, luckily, there's no Leicester and Ipswich. That's why we're there. There's no Leicester and Ipswich tearing away with it, and that's okay. And as Matt says, and I'm not trying to negate Matt's point, he's bang on the money. If we crack on the remainder of the season the way we did last year, which we're very capable of doing, this side is very capable of doing that, then we'll be fine. There is that little worry in the back of my head that we do have to go on that run, though, if we're going to hit that points total again, where we could have done, like Leeds have taken 10 points of an available 21 points away from home this season so far. We've dropped 11 points away from home already this year, which is a lot.
Do you know, though, in terms of who's the best performing away team in the Championship?
I can tell you now in 2 seconds, mate. In front of me.
It's Sunderland, Joe, and they have 4 more points than us. 4. Yeah. So if we'd have not dropped points against Sunderland, we'd have 13-1. This
we did.
So for me, but all right, okay, we did, but we're 4 points off. So
no, I get that.
That's not that big a deal, if that makes sense.
Well, no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. And maybe I'm making a bigger deal of it than it is. I still think it's something worth discussing. Yeah, I'm not looking at anybody else's form. I don't care about anybody else in this league. I only care about Leeds. and Leeds doing their jobs and dropping 11 points for a team that's supposed to be the best side in the league. And as all the top sides have said, Leeds will be out in front by a mile. Now, that could still happen, but now we're starting to play the lesser sides, and we said we wanted 12 points from this block of games. We might get 9. Sorry, you're 7. Yeah, I said it as well. This is where Leeds go on their run. This is where it starts. And it hasn't. So he's going to come up against a lot more sides in the next couple of weeks who are going to drop deep, be physical, and hold. And he's got to figure out a way of beating them. We can't go the way we went last year with those kind of games. And as I say, this team has the ability, as far as I'm concerned, to go and do it. They've shown it in glimpses this year against Watford. Phenomenal for 10 minutes. Phenomenal for 10 minutes. Norwich City in the playoff last year, outstanding for 90 minutes in that game. Talk about taking a team to the cleaners and just constantly going at them. It's there. It's in them. It's just getting it out of them all the time. And that could be the manager, but that can be the player. And I think both sides are accountable for last night. I don't think enough players played well. I don't think the decisions that were made by the manager were the correct decisions. I think both them played into it. And again, as Matt said, Millwall took apart their game plan with exceptional quality and just dealt with it and delivered their game plan, where Leeds just didn't deal with it. So there's things he needs to fix, Joe. We can't just... This is the excuses I'm talking about. We can't just keep nodding and smiling and saying, yeah, you're right. Some things have got to be better. We can't accept everything he says and go, yeah, fair enough. Like, well, no, hang on. I've been fair to you all year. I've backed you all year. But just the moment we have to stop and go, hang on, Dan.
But see, for me, I still think we're going well. That's my thing.
I think we're okay. But I thought we'd be better. I thought we'd be in the top 2.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted us in the top 2 by this stage, and we're not.
How many points off the top 2, though?
Not many. We're only 4 points, is it? Less.
2 off a second, I think.
2 off a second.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just looking at like previous, because if we actually go back and look at previous seasons, 26 points is a good return for 14 games into the season. When you go back,
bearing where you thought we would be looking to start the season.
Am I happy right now with Leeds' position in the table?
Based on what you said at the start of the season.
Am I happy right?
Yeah.
I probably thought we'd be in the top 2, but we're like a couple of points off it. I don't think it's...
I'm not saying
no, I know you're not, Joe. No, I never said you were saying sack the guy. We're just having a conversation, right?
100%, mate.
Yeah.
100%. But there's like, can I just run through this list real quickly with you? Because these are things we're starting to hear again, and we heard them last year, right? So, international breaks. Right, we're going to hear about that next week. We're going to hear we have so many players away international duty. They don't get back till the day before the game, and they'll only have 24 hours training with the side, and so we're writing that game off.
But that's true, though.
It is, but it's also true for the other teams, and it will also be true next year.
Not comparable to Leeds United.
Joe,
we have 14 people going.
We're going to write off every game after an international break because we've got really good players who are away on international duty. You have to deal with that.
Last season we didn't lose one game after the international break. Not one.
It's fine. But this year he's blaming them. So that's the point I'm making. These are excuses, Joe, not reality.
Okay.
These are what he's saying.
But what I would say in response to that is we have more than any other team players away on international duty. We have 14.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Sheffield United had about 2.
I'm not saying this. These are the comments that Daniel Farke has made.
Yeah, and I'm just backing him.
Arguments to them, right? And if that's the case, then next season we go to the Premier League. If we go to the Premier League next season, everyone has international players. You have to deal with that, Daniel. You have to figure out how to have. You get 2 days training with them. That's all you got. Maybe 1. You've got to figure it out.
But that's a much more even playing field because your opposition have 14 players away.
Possibly. I just don't like a manager putting it out there because it's an excuse. If we don't perform at the game after international break, he's already put it out there. Well, it's the international break's causing us problems. All right. Okay. There's 2 Nations League games coming out. We are allowing Dan James, who has a hamstring problem, to go. Manor Solomon, who's been out for over a month, to go. And Max Verber, who hasn't kicked the ball, to go on international duty for Nations League games. Now, the club could have a light shot with those players and go, you're not going anywhere. You've just come back. You're not fully fit. Off you go, lads. Go get injured again. And when you come back, we'll blame it on that. That's the first one. Now, again, these are things that he said. 3 games in a week. He keeps bringing up. We've got 3 games in a week. Got 3 games in a week. 3 games in a week. Everyone does. Everyone in this league does. Deal with it. Find a way to win the game and go deal with it. Stop complaining about it. We've lost our best players. That's the other one. Sunderland lost Jack Clark, Bradley Dax, Semedo, and Neffen. All gone this year. Brought very little in to replace them. Top of the league. Sheffield United. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players left from there. 18 last year that they had started the season with -2 goal difference and going through a takeover. Still in the mix. Burnley, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players gone from their squad that played last year. Some very big players in that. No manager coming into the start of the season. Very much in the mix. Leeds didn't have any of that problem this year. We lost Cree, Georgie, and we lost Archie. And we brought in replacements that were all, up until this week, pretty happy with the players we brought.
And that wasn't a problem what happened in the summer at Leeds.
I'm not saying it was. I'm saying it's nothing different than the other clubs that are up there with us haven't gone through as well. It's comparable.
Okay. Yeah,
So being used as an excuse for us not winning games isn't an excuse because other teams are doing it. So you've got to figure it that way. Pirro can't press. Make him. That's simple. You're the coach. Make him press. Stop saying you can't press. Make him press. We've had plenty of shots on target. Last night, that was the excuse. Did we? 4. And they weren't really shots on target, Daniel. They weren't. And then saying that we had more shots against them than any other club isn't something to brag about. We didn't score. So maybe don't use that as a thing to brag about.
I was just about to use it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work because they weren't shots. They were half-harsh shots. They were kicked through lumps of players and the keeper handled them all very easily. Plan B's, same as last year. Consistently being told we're the best team in the league, but yet we're not top of the league.
Can I just come back on that then? Can I come back on that? Because I wholeheartedly believe that we are the best team in the league. Can you tell me, Joe, that we're not?
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying
you've just said it's an excuse and said we're not top.
I'm reading out the list of excuses that have started to come out in the last couple of weeks. Now, we said at the start of the year, and the reason for this, Joe, is this. We said at the start of the year, no excuses. There's already a list like that.
So Farke hasn't used that as an excuse. We're the best team in the league.
No, but he keeps telling that other managers saying we're the best side in the league. It's like, well, then go prove it.
He doesn't say that. They say that.
Teams.
Do you think we are the best team in the league?
No, because we're not top, and we haven't been top yet this year.
So we're not. You're consistently hearing we're the best team in the league from others. The manager's never said that. I've said that.
Manager has said
and others have said it. I don't think the manager's gone in a press conference and said we're the best team in the league. He's never said that. Has he?
Yeah.
When did Farke say that?
The manager's saying that we're the best team in the league. We've got to go and prove it. So he has said it, right? He has said it. Joe, the point of this is not. The point of this is not for me and you to have an argument back and forth.
I'm not arguing, bro. I'm not.
At the start of the year, me and you sat here and we had a one-on-one stream where we both said no excuses this year. We need to be in the top 2 by a certain time. We're not in the top 2 by a certain time.
No.
And there's a litany of excuses starting to be rolled in. And that's not okay anymore. Like a lot of these things we heard last year. I want to see progress. I want to see Leeds learn from last year and don't repeat those mistakes. And unfortunately, there are mistakes from last year. And again, I'm not saying sack the guy. I'm saying I'm holding him to account. We said no excuses. There's plenty already been dished out.
Okay. Can I ask you then, do you believe because Sunderland are top that they are the best team in this league?
Well, points per game total wise, yeah, they are. But they are.
So do you think they're better than Leeds United?
Did they beat Leeds?
Right. So can we? Right.
Did they beat Leeds and are they higher in the table than Leeds are?
No, they didn't beat Leeds.
Did we beat them? We didn't beat them.
We were miles better than them.
So,
we're miles better than them.
So if we finish third at the end of the season, we could turn around and say,
so
we're
right,
okay.
So why don't we look at difficulty of fixtures? This is wild to say just because someone's top of the league at game week 13, that means they're suddenly the best in the league. So for example,
you're picking one thing out of the entire thing, and the entire point of that was just to say there are excuses being made which shouldn't be made. We shouldn't have any excuses anymore. We're arguing about that, and we shouldn't be. It's a clear point of something we said to start.
No, we're not arguing. Honestly, I'm not arguing. I'm asking you if you believe that we are the best team in the league. You've said no, because we're not top.
And I look at points per game, and I look at points totals. And as it is right now, Sunderland are 4 points better off than we are after 14 matches. And when we played them, we didn't beat them. So how can you say that we're better than them at right now? Because
we are.
But lads, everything
I've watched us play them. I've watched us play them.
Opinion. Unless it's backed up by fact, and it's not backed up by fact.
I think here, lads. I think 14 games in, being 4 points behind Sunderland, it's not as bad as you read out all them points. All you say, Joe, but and you say Sunderland lost this many players and Sheffield lost this many players, but we're still in the mix with them. I think 4 point gap with 3 games to go, it's a disaster. I think a 4 point gap with 32 games to go. I feel like we're being compared to those other teams, but we're in the mix with them teams. They're not It's 15 points clear. We clawed back a 15-point gap last year. It's only 4 points. So all the teams you sort of compared us to them with us, we're in that mix still. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we're not front and centre like Joe said, and like a lot of us said. We expected to be clear, but that's based off our levels of us expecting to win every game. But when you look at it, we're still in the mix. We're in that conversation. So I don't think it's that bad, mate. Do you know what I mean?
And I don't think, and come here, and this is what I keep trying to say. I've said it several times now.
It's funny because someone just said there, for 6 games, Preston were the best team in this league last season.
Great. So when we're 30 games in, we can say that again because we're 14 games in.
No, but by the logic, for 6 games of the season, Preston were better than Leicester, better than Leeds, better than Sunderland, better than Ipswich. Never were. But they were top of the league. I'm getting cooked and I'm thick as shit. And I'm embarrassing. Not to you, I'm saying this to chat because the top of the league were Preston for 6 games. So that must mean under Ryan Law, bearing in mind they finished about 5 points away from relegation, they were the best. They were better than Leicester, better than Leeds, better than Sunderland, better than everybody.
Well, hang on. That's like taking something from last year and applying it to this year. It doesn't apply.
Well, you've said it. Matches up by facts, backed up by facts. Preston were the best team in the league last season. Backed up by facts.
At that point, because you're talking about 6 games now, 14. We're 14 games in, Joe. We're Preston. It's a different. Joe, you're comparing apples and oranges now. You're talking about 6 matches versus where. No, you're not. Hang on, because this is now starting to wind me up. I don't know why I even agreed to do this. This is ridiculous.
Agreed to do what?
I'm reading out the list of things that are being said online as excuses after you said no excuses this year.
Yeah, but and I don't think saying we're the best team in the league is an excuse. What I don't understand. Trevor, I don't understand how that's an excuse.
You're saying that because Preston were 6 games, we're top of the 6 games, that Leeds not being top of the 14 games is comparable. It's a different fucking thing. Well, completely different.
Why?
It's 1/4 of a season versus 6 games, Joe.
Right, okay, but
it's a much bigger sample size. We played a good load of teams now. All right, that's why it's different. It's not the opening weeks of the season; it's the entirety of where we are right now. Yeah. And as it is right now, you're 4 points behind the league leaders, and when you played them, you didn't beat them. So Jesus Christ, am I the only one looking at this and saying statistically and based on fact, you weren't better than them, and you're currently not. You might be in 4 games time, but right now,
did you watch Sunderland? Did you watch us play Sunderland? Yeah. Were we better than them?
We didn't win.
But were we better than them? I understand. Of course I do. Of course, Joe, I understand. Of course you had to win the game. We drew it because Meslier dropped the ball. So if Meslier didn't drop the ball, you would be sat here saying, yes, we were better than them.
Because we won, yeah. But that's a different
but
set.
You know that's... So,
Joe, if you change an individual circumstance for any event that's ever happened, the outcome is different. You're talking about hypotheticals and trying to make them facts. They did. That mistake did happen, and Leeds didn't win. So therefore, whatever didn't happen isn't relevant because it will never happen. It's done.
Okay.
So why are we bringing hypotheticals into a conversation that's based on what we're looking at?
Because I think it's disingenuous to say that we weren't better than Sunderland. I think it's disingenuous, personally. If you watch that game, you would be able to see that Leeds were streets ahead of Sunderland, but they got a point.
Yeah. All right, I'll take that. All right, but let me just throw this back at you, right? Leeds go the rest of the season playing exactly as they did against Sunderland and don't get promoted because they lose and drop points. Is that okay, Joe? Because we're the best team in the league.
Joe. No, it's not.
But you've watched all these games and Leeds have dominated and been the best.
But we're 14 games in.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying if we're going to use hypotheticals, which we've been using for Preston after 6 matches, we're now.
No, but that's the same as what you're using now after 14 games.
Yeah, fine. Let's go forward with it then. Let's look at this and go. If Leeds don't get promoted, but play the way they played against Sunderland in every single game, you'll be happy with that because we were the better side, but didn't win games.
No, because if I feel that if we played like we did against Sunderland, hypothetically, then over the course of the season we would win more than we'd lose.
Maybe, but we don't know.
Maybe.
Because last night on paper, we should have beaten Millwall. We should have 12 points from this 4 or 5 game block, but we're not going to have that. So walking into this, hypothetically speaking, when we looked at the block of games after the last international break, this was the run. This was Leeds' chance to close the gap, pick up some points and move forward. We haven't done it. So we could say that Leeds could be the best side for the remainder of the season and beat everyone off the park. But unless they find ways to win the game and put 3 points on the board in those games, it doesn't matter what they do on the park. Millwall were not the best side last night, but they won the game. Who do you think's happier going home? Leeds because we played lovely football, Millwall. Or them because they won the game? They will be. So Leeds need to find a way to win these games and stop carting out reasons why we're not winning games. Stop telling me there's an international break and that's why we didn't lose a game. Stop telling me that other managers say that we're very good. Stop telling me that it's 3 games in a week. Every manager has to deal with this stuff, and then stop saying I'm not making excuses, and then making excuses. So that point I'm making is, if you look online, and it's only a small sample size because it is online, people are starting to regurgitating those comments now. Like, people are saying
what the manager's saying,
because the manager's saying it in press conferences, and now it's coming out, and it's becoming the rhetoric behind the season of, well, this time we've conceded less goals than this time last year. Yeah, so we should be better then, shouldn't we? But we're not. We're in exactly the same position, 1 point difference. So all of these stuff is now getting dug out as the reasoning behind why we are where we are, and that's okay because of these reasons. But they're all excuses. If you've got 3 games in a week in the championship, every other manager has to deal with that. Figure it out and find a way to win those games. You're the manager. That's your job, is to figure out. Millwall came with a game plan, and we said that. Everyone knew what that game plan was going to be. Leeds apparently didn't, because Leeds didn't deal with it. Leeds gave away free kicks consistently in the wrong areas last night and didn't deal with big balls into the box. So that's the problem. And that's what I'm saying. So you've got to look at all this stuff and go, well, hang on a second. If we said we were going to hold ourselves to a higher account this year, if we said an expectation level was higher this year, if we said we weren't going to accept excuses this year, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying the world's on fire. I'm sure we're going to be fine. I still think we get promoted. But I'm saying right now, looking at this, there's just problems there that need to be fixed and addressed. And they're not going to be fixed by saying, well, it was international break, so a lot of lads were away. Or, 3 games in a week, on the road a bit, lads are tired. Everyone has to deal with it. Everyone has to deal. Go and get the results. Go win the game of football. Find a way. That's all I'm saying. And this has got out of hand. But that's all I was trying to say was, this is the list of excuses that have found their way online now and are now being regurgitated. And at the start of the season, everyone said, no excuses, go win the league.
So what stage then does it become untenable then?
I don't know. Maybe when you get to the end of December and if there's still a gap to the top 2, then maybe you look at it. But I don't expect Leeds to do anything in January, and we'll be where we are. But I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying sack the guy, because it's when is too soon and when is too late. It's a very hard decision to make right now, especially trying to get promoted. Like, do you look at last season? You want the Cooper gone, but like you got there in the end with him, so job done.
Yeah.
But Fracken may very well do this. He may very well hit 90 points or 80 something, whatever, and get promoted. He may easily do that. But there's things right now I would like to see tidied up.
That's fair.
I'm gonna stop talking.
That is very fair. Sure. Thought we were going to have a straightening then, Joe.
Never me.
I know, I'm joking, pal. Let's bring in Lockie. Listen, what I do just want to address a few things. As you can see, it gets very healthy. Football, we care a lot about it. What I won't have is continuous, digs at people, i.e. me, just trying to get a rise, because it's not nice. And if I see it again, you will be blocked. All right? That's all I will say. Lockie, over to you, my man.
Yeah.
Thoughts? I don't know what to ask you, because I don't want you to get involved in a debate.
Yeah.
You just talk.
Yeah, I was laughing in there. I was laughing when Sean said it. It's like the Mitchell brothers said, "Where's Peggy?" That just made me laugh.
Get out of my pub.
Back in there, yeah. But yeah, but on that comment where managers say we're the best team in the league, I think you've got to look at their perspective. They're talking about on the day who they played against, we're the toughest team they played against, right? They're not necessarily looking at the league going, look, yeah. They're saying from their perspective, who they played against, who do they think were the toughest test? And they'll go, we think this is the toughest test. Even, I forget the Millwall manager, what's his name? Harris. He said they ran us ragged at times. We couldn't get near them. And that's, again, this is the part of the team that annoys me. We are so capable of doing that to everyone. And the consistencies are we don't, or we stop doing it in games. We saw even against Bristol City, a good team. There was times where we ran them ragged. There was times where we slowed it down a little too much. You know, Watford is probably the best example of a team that we were absolutely, in the first 20 minutes, cleverly must have thought, what's going on here? This team is very good. I don't think other teams have that level in them. I think we do. I've watched Burnley this season, and although you know how they play, it's like us, but slower, honestly. It's not great.
Worse.
But they are just more clinical than us. They seem to get things done. We have a problem this year, an inconsistency where One, set pieces is a big issue for me. That's 10 to
Shite.
12 points a season. That's a lot. That's a big issue. We had, 12 corners? Did we honestly think we were going to score in any of them?
No.
That's
never.
an issue. Shots from outside the box are not good enough. Look at all these teams, Sunderland, teams like Burnley even, scoring goals from outside the box. We don't do that. Gus Hamer's had a few from outside the box. Our shots are bad or just go straight at the goalkeeper. And again, just little things like that. The little things that make the big percentages are our problem this year. I still think we lack experience as well in the moments where we need to change the game plan. We lose structure and we don't have that key person in there that's just maintaining that structure in the team. Farker mentioned his presser that today about losing men and stuff like that. Little things. I don't think it's huge differences. I don't think it's a big problem. I think it's little things that we really need to work on. Like I said, I've watched Sheffield United this year a few times. I've watched Burnley, and it's not dissimilar to us. It's very, very. They have the ball. They try and create chances. Teams sit deep. But I watched Sheffield United the other day, and the difference in the last 10 minutes in their game when they were losing 1-0 was they had a level to go up, and they went up. We didn't. We changed it. The manager changed it, and the structure got lost, and we looked terrible in the last 10 minutes. Sheffield United, in the last 10 minutes of the game, looked really dangerous. And then they're probably thinking, why can't we play like that throughout the game? You know what I mean? There's little things in football that make points, that get decisions. It's that little shot from the edge of the box. It's that set piece. It's another problem for me at the weekend was our wingers 1v1 were not good enough. These are little things that those players should be doing more. That second half, Nonto got back pocketed by their right back. 2 or 3 times he tried to beat him and he didn't have the legs to get round him. James tried, but what was the result of James running at his defender? It was a long cross into the box. There's no players in there. We're playing Perot up top, and there's times where it works, but there's times where we don't give him any service. Joe Perot's not a player who's going to create his own service. You've got to give it him. You've got to give it him in good areas. That's the player he is. There's things that this team needs to fix and needs to fix quick. We're not perfect, but I think we have a level in the team that no one else has in this league. I think we have that. I do. Look, I've watched quite a bit of Burnley, been on Sky a lot this year, and honestly, their top level is honestly how we play most weeks. That's the difference for me. We have that top level. We've all seen it. Joe, you've seen it when we're quick. Even you said it. Oh, we look so good. I've not seen any other team do that. Sunderland do that, but when they do it, they're really exposed. What we're really good at, and this is probably underrated, we're talking about the attacking structure here, right? Defensively and off the ball, we are so good, better than everyone else, not even close to me. It's just on the ball, our decision making, our shape isn't always right. We're too hesitant at times, we're too slow. And yeah, we just lack that. And that's, for me, something we've got to find. Because those are the little things that get you the win against Millwall. 12 corners. 12. One's got to go in. You've got to, forget that, you've got to win a header in a corner. Do you know what I mean? Did we even win any of them corners? Did we win them in the first ball in any of them? It's so bad. That is a big issue for me. And these are little things that make, how many times did we get into the box, win a penalty? Do you know what I mean? You've got to get into the box to win a penalty. I'm seeing teams score loads of penalties. We've got to find these little nuances, these little things in games that get you 15, 20 points a season.
Marginal gains that we don't get lucky.
Exactly. Marginal gains. That's the word. It is them, because you're not always going to be great. You're not always going to be great. Most teams, actually, you could probably say 30 games out of the 46 this year, most teams won't play great. But the teams at the top of the league at the end of the season will have them little marginal gains that will win them the games where they're not good. We are lacking that, for me.
Yeah, agreed. No, I thought you still had some more to say. I agree. We do. Corners are a joke, and there are some things I do want us to dial in on. Sean says, that's why I love a good, healthy debate. It's why I love this channel, Joe. Best Leeds content going simples. Thank you. I hope, listen, me and Joe are best buddies. Don't worry about that. We're just very highly opinionated, both at the same time as well. What I do...
Sport, Joe.
Yes. What do you say?
I said it's an emotional sport, and we want the
100%.
best from Leeds. I want Leeds to be
100%.
brilliant. Always want them. So I'll always not be happy when we're not brilliant.
I get that. I do want to talk about this let's talk about some things that we can be critical over. Because Matty, the substitution thing, it is getting frustrating. You know what really excited me, right? He brings off Rothwell and brings on Solomon. And I went, so at the time I goes, oh, this is interesting. This is new. What's he doing? He's changing something tactically. Who's going to go in the 10? What are we going to play? Then when that didn't work, he just went, right, all the strikers on the pitch and put Bamford, Joseph and Pirro all up there. And I'm going, and this is where I get where people's criticism comes from in terms of how do we open up? It's not by just putting more players in there, because surely that just crowds it even more, Matty, you know? So it is frustrating, that part of it.
It looked really disjointed when they all come on, doesn't it? You know, it's something obviously it's something that won't work on in training. It literally is just gun ho at that moment. So I feel like when you've got those three in the box, the rest of the side don't really know how to work with that. You know, the movements, the patterns of play. Like I say, it's not something they're going to work on in training. It literally is just lump people into box and hope for best. But you could see in that last 10 minutes, the crosses coming in just weren't there all game. I feel like we delivered. I wouldn't say on a sixpence but we were whipping balls into box, going out. Hence why we got 12 corners. You don't get 12 corners unless you're attempting to get balls into box and shots on goal. Yeah, we weren't clinical, but that last 10 minutes just really, it blagged my head, mate. I can't lie. I just can't believe, we went gun ho, all them people in box, and we just couldn't find them. And yeah, they crowded it out, but it's one of them things for Farke. Like I say, I love Farke. I do. I think he's decent for us where we are right now. But his subs are somewhat, I've criticised all season. That is where he really falls down. And I feel like he's only got really one way of playing, regardless of who we're playing. Like I think it's different courses for different horses for courses, should I say? And certain games you look at and go, this player would be better than him. And I just feel like he tends to go with same side unless there's an injury. And he doesn't really, and then when it comes to him having to affect a game from the bench, I just feel like he doesn't really get that right. And obviously this year, maybe we haven't got that star quality. It's sprinkled out across, the 11 rather than a couple of players. And when it's a tight game, you're probably not going to get that goal we got from your Somervilles and that pass we got from a Rutter. So there might be more games that are quite frustrating with these 0-0s and these narrow losses. But like I say, you know how I feel about overall over the 46 games. But yeah, his subs really get on my wick. Like it's the one thing I can't really defend him on it. I can't recall many games he's got it right.
Yeah, it's happened once against Norwich.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Norwich. Yeah.
I just say as well.
Go on.
I mentioned Sheffield United earlier, and exactly the same. You watched the game, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They made changes, and it helped, and they maintained their structure with them changes, and they believed in what they were doing. And it's exactly the same scenario. 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go. Look at them, exact difference. Look how mature they were in their performance. They stuck with what they did. They upped it. They found spaces. We lost all form. We lost our shape. We lost what we meant to do. Our threat in the last 10 minutes was Dan James cutting in on his left and having a shot from 30 yards. That's what we went down to. There was no gaps. There was no spaces. And Sheffield United are looking at it going, they're going to get another one here, because you could feel it. You could feel they were going to get another one because they were creating spaces. They were moving. We didn't. So yeah, it was an issue.
Yeah, I agree on that. Another thing, Jura, as well, like Matty makes a good point there about us maybe not having that individual talent. Well, a lot of what people felt would be Willie Gnonto. And I just don't think we're getting the best out of him right now. And again, we talk about standards, and I hear it, and I get everyone's criticism as like front and center. But there's a lot of people that also say Gnonto's like the best player in the league and all that sort of stuff. He can't be inconsistent. And I get where people were like, it's unfair and stuff, but we're expecting him to be that guy. Do you know what I mean? We're expecting him to be that guy. So he needs to do more, I feel. He needs to do more.
He can't carry the entire side, though. And it's not just him. Other more senior players need to step up as well. I think there's been times this year, especially over the last couple of weeks, where Gnonto's been excellent for us. He doesn't have to be a crease Somerville just to beat loads of players to do something. As long as he's effective and he's been getting assists and he's been chipping away at that, not getting enough goals. There's been one criticism I've had of Willie this year, and that's his passing when Leeds are breaking quickly tends to be off a little bit. It's lacking a little bit of power and tends to drift behind players and not in front of them where they can run onto it, and slows the attack down. I think we've lost opportunities from that as well. But he's 21 years of age. Unfortunately, the biggest consistency you'll get with young players is inconsistency. And Leeds got a very young side, and Leeds have deliberately gone out and bought a young side. And unfortunately, that will breed inconsistency. And when they don't all play at the same time, and Leeds can probably get away with carrying one or two players, but when they have to carry more than one or two, the load becomes a little bit too much for the rest of us. So I think last night was going to be a test for Willie. We talked about this on my channel with Lockie earlier on, but I was started watching the game last night with Jess. And I said, well, this is the test whether he's grown up or not. Because for me, his performances this year have been an awful lot more mature, maybe less flash in the pan and big moments, but more consistent and more involved in the actual team build up and doing the right things. And I said, this is a game where we'll test his maturity because he's going to get kicked. He's going to get niggled at. They're going to test him. They're going to wind him up. And they did. And then the first 10 minutes, I thought he was really good. He got past the outside the fullback a couple of times, but then he started getting kicked. And all of a sudden, Willie went out of the game. And then the second half, someone obviously said something to him. And then Willie decided he was going to do it all on his own. He just kept overrunning the ball, running into cul-de-sacs and dead ends and not passing it. And he wasn't the only one again last night that was guilty of that. I think I said at one point during the match, are we going to keep doing the wrong things? Too many touches before we pass the ball, not releasing it early enough, and running into dead ends consistently. Like, when are we going to start flowing here? It just wasn't. And it wasn't just Willie. But the pressure's on him because he wants to be a Premier League player. He had the strike thing last year, trying to force a move to the Prem. So you're always going to hold it over his head of going, well, you're a Premier League player, or you think you're a Premier League player, so we're going to hold you to a Premier League standard. We need to see that from you. You'll get it sometimes. I think he's been fine. I don't think he's the problem, but I think you could have made a change for Solomon earlier last night and put Solomon on the right-hand side so he can cross the ball rather than cut inside, and gone with a left-hand side player on the left-hand wing and actually got balls into the box on their stronger foot instead of having players to check back all the time. So he can do more, but I don't think he's been a massive problem this year. Last night, not a great day at the office. You know, he'll learn from that, but there's a lot more around him I think need to carry the can as well.
I think we, just on wingers as well, I think we hugely miss Ramazani's creativeness in there. Yeah, you kind of know what he's going to do in a good way. You know, he's good at doing it. But Ramazan is just a bit of a free role when he plays. He kind of plays along the striker. He'll drop really deep. He'll do a little flicks. His movement's really sharp. He'll take a shot, you know, and he won't just try curl it. He'll do a shot through. He'll try kick it through defenders' legs and all stuff like that. I think you miss that, and I think we clearly are missing that. When he started for Leeds and he was in that side, we were all saying he looks unbelievable. And we missed that. You missed that little spark in there for me.
I think everyone around him, Lockie, raised the game as well. That front four raised the levels when he was in there. He demanded everyone were at that level, and it weren't just him shining. They all sort of looked a lot better than they do currently. Yeah,
I agree. And look, I thought Solomon was better again, but still we're waiting for him to hit that level. Yeah, and do you know what as well? Joe made a point there. I mentioned this right at the start. You know, when I rated the window a 6 and everyone was asking why. One of the issues with the players we brought in were good, but they're all right. They're all right-footed wingers. We don't have a left-footed winger. That's a different option. It's a different thing to think about for defenders. We don't have
Junior's
one.
Always over there.
Yeah. But even Junior Firpo, Millwall for me, Joe, even last few weeks, I don't think he's been as good as before the international break.
He's not been as sharp since he came back.
Yeah. He's not really.
Go on.
I was going to say he's not getting into that final third. You know, them overlaps and getting in them spaces on the byline to cross it in. He's not getting them. His crosses are all coming really deep, and I don't think he's a great deep crosser at all.
So the presser was today, and he said, we'll make some last-minute decisions about shuffling the pack. So there's a potential for changes. Now, I'd said on my press conference reaction I did earlier on that I'd like to see Joseph back in the 9. I'd like to see Solomon start on the left and potentially move Nonto back out to the right. I'll go with Dan James. I thought Solomon showed something off the bench. Yeah, I'd potentially play Gulavogi alongside Tanaka, potentially, which I know might not go down well, but there was a bit where Farker had mentioned about second balls when the goal was conceded, and he specifically mentioned 2 people. The Leeds Live did an article on it, and when you check the replays, the 2 people that didn't track the runners were Pirro and Rothwell. And we know when Farker, when he sees something, he can, I don't know, I just go back to Stoke away and how that team that played got bombed out after. So I could see changes come afoot. Some people said they'd rather see Byram than Bogle. in the chat earlier on, I'm not for that, but I could potentially look at. I'd like to see Joseph given a go back in 9 now, and maybe even Solomon. What about you, folks? Is there anything you'd like to see him do for Saturday's game?
Sorry, I'm just thinking.
The two you said, Joe, for me. The two you said. I think Gilavogi coming in for Rothwell's. I don't think we'll need that against QPR, to be honest. I think everything else will be all right. I think Joseph and Pirro, that's something you talk about every game, really, innit? You know, every game that comes up, and I sort of
every
feel
time
like
Pirro doesn't score, I want Joseph back in.
exactly. And to be fair, mate, I think they both give you, you know, something different. And if it's not working after 70 minutes, he'll come on with Pirro, won't he, and potentially get one anyway. But I feel like it won't affect us in this game. Who we start up top? I think Solomon's definitely pushing. I think his last two sub appearances is looking a little bit more sharp, a bit more threatening from that left hand side. So I would say them two. I don't think it needs wholesale changes. I think Bogle had a really bad performance last night. And yeah, I love Byron, but obviously I'm not saying he should start over Bogle. But after 2 good performances, I don't think Bogle can afford another bad one. But I don't think it'll be a worry for QPR game. But I would say really Solomon and Joseph are the two that I think Farker will definitely be looking at. But I think the Gilavogi one, I wouldn't be too sure for this one, buddy.
Fair, that's fair. Any other thoughts, lads?
Yeah, I agree. It is interesting with Gilavogi because he didn't get on at all, did he? Against Millwall, and maybe you'd have thought he'd have put him in there if he's thinking of starting him. But then on the other side of that, he might have thought if he's thinking of starting him, you know, he wants him to have a rest, to have a full 90 maybe. So the good thing about that is the option there. And if he's every single week he's getting fitter and fitter and more involved in the team. So Gilavogi is definitely an option for me, to be honest with you. We know Farker, just based on purely that we know Farker obviously prefers a defensive midfielder in that role. He loves one. That's why we brought him in. You know, he was gutted when Ampadu and Grube went out. He played them both together defensively, so he really wants one, and that's the option there. But I don't think he will. I'd stick with Rothwell. Even if he called him out for the thing, that might be a look. I've seen it, now fix it type thing. But we'll see. But again, yeah, the front three. It's annoying because I know Nonto's not been his best, but I feel like it's there. You know what I mean? It's so frustrating because it's so annoying because he's got everything he needs to blow this league apart. And I feel like dropping him, you know, you might miss that when it's on the pitch and you're going, actually, we want Nonto back in. I think
if Ramazani were fit, Nonto probably would come out, you know. If Ramazani were available, but because he isn't, he's probably still plays through this bad form.
I think it'd be James personally, but
you think?
I just think Daniel Farker really believes in Nonto. He really likes him. He keeps mentioning how, even in his presses, he's mentioned how he's the best player in the league and all this stuff. He's a young man as well. Ramazani's what, three and a half years older than Nonto, which is crazy to think about. You know, that's a lot of football. That's you know, Nonto had been 17 when Ramazani was this age, 18. So he's got a lot of learning to do as Nonto. But even though I'm criticising him, you know, I criticise wingers a lot because I was one and I have a high standard of them, especially ones that are as good as him. But I still start him. I don't think there'll be much changes in the end. I think Parker might just be, you know, doing that thing he does where it makes managers think about it. But if there is, after a loss, I'd be up for it. You know what I mean? I'd be like, fine, we're doing something here.
I don't know if I'd change a lot, though. I mean, I don't think it was individual players necessarily the reason why we didn't get anything out of the game last night. I think it was how we played more than anything else. And again, me and Lockie have talked about this at length. I think the conversation around Pirro or Joseph, the wrong question is being asked. The question that's being asked is Pirro or Joseph. I don't think that's the question because I think they are very, very different players, and how Leeds play will determine which one of those you should pick. I think we've got 2 very good strikers who we can put in and take out when we need them for different types of games. When there's games with a bit more space in behind.
Do you think he'll do that though, Joe? I don't think he's doing that.
I don't think he'll change it at all.
Do you think Millwall should have been Joseph, Joe? I know on reflection we can say that, but when you think, I would have said that would have been better for Joseph.
Yeah. No, I think if you look at it and go, well, what do you get from Pirro? And that's finishing. So where does the ball need to be in front of him? So, okay, so you're playing against a team with a low block, then it's probably not the best game for him, unless you're going to get crosses into the box from deep areas, which we don't tend to do. Yeah. But if you're playing, but Mateo Joseph will do an awful lot more running off the ball, will do an awful lot more pressing, will do an awful lot more showing for the ball to link up the play, to try and make space for players to get in behind and create space in the areas. Because think about it this way, when a number 9 runs out of the back line to show for a ball, he brings a centre back with him, which creates space in behind. If you're playing against a low block, you need that space. Pirro is going to just sit on the last man and they're just going to keep those that closed off. So it depends on the team we're playing against. I think that has to be the conversation. If they're going to be a low block team, we should be able to judge that by other top sides they played in this league. Then I would play Joseph. I think if just space him behind, I'd play Pirro. But I think how Leeds play needs to change. And again, we talked about this an awful lot with Lockie. But if you're not going to put the ball in front of Joel Pirro, you're not going to get crosses into the 6-yard area in front of him, then don't play him because it's not his game.
Yeah,
and then we can criticize him afterwards, but go, well, is that really his game? It's not. We're not playing to his strengths. And everyone's asking in the chat, do we go and get a striker in January? I think Leeds need to go and get a striker in January, but I think Daniel Farke needs to find a striker that fits his style of football, because I think right now he's got 3 strikers and none of them really fit perfectly with how he wants to play. And that's why we keep having this conversation around, is it him or is it him or is it him? Because it's just not clicking with any of them. I think Leeds at their best this year have been when Mateo Joseph has started and Pirro's come on and with 70 minute mark, and it seems to work perfectly for both of them. So I don't know. I don't think this. I didn't agree with Joe Rothwell being taken off last night. I thought he was one of the few players that when he gets the ball, runs forward with the ball into space to try and create stuff, and I like that about him. But I think he's this year's Kamara. I think he's got to be the sacrificial lamb in every game he plays because he's on loan. And Daniel, I wrote this thing down earlier on to talk about, and then I binned it because I thought I'm talking.
Not more excuses.
No, this comes around. We know that Daniel Farke has predetermined substitutions because we can guess that by the time in most games. And then the ones where he brings all the strikers on, they're the games where it's not necessarily as predetermined. But if you look at last year, Dan Kamara was the first player off the park in every single game he started in pretty much. He was the first player off. Now it's Joe Rothwell. And it seems to me that there's certain types of players he's already made decisions on. Like Rothwell, you're on loan, so you're not going to play all the time, and I'll take you out when I can take you out for a permanent player. We've heard Farke talk about Gilavogi coming in and that he'll have to be happy with stepping away from the team when these players come back from injury. What if he's in really good form? What if he's playing really, really well? Does he step away from it then? Are you writing that player off without even looking at performance? So I just think that last night Rothwell was the mistake. I wouldn't have taken Rothwell off last night because if we got a free kick around the edge of the box, that's your set piece taker gone off the park. I would have kept him on because I didn't think he was having a bad game. And I quite like Tanaka and him in the middle of the park. I think they have a really nice partnership, and our issues aren't coming from that part of the field. So I actually thought Stroke let Tanganga go because he was marking him at one point and then he wasn't. And then Tanganga was free. So I thought Stroke had let him go and got carried into the ball. But I don't know. He has certain opinions on certain players and he voices certain things. I mean, Schmidt's been called out as well. Not sure what the point of that one was to hang him out to dry, but that was done as well. So I don't know what his decision making on certain players.
To dry?
Yeah, not doing enough. Needs to do more in training.
I want to see reaction from him, doesn't it?
What's the reaction?
Yeah, but he hasn't played yet. So can you really look for a reaction? Player hasn't played much. You haven't really given him a crack to
in
see
training though.
In training, I think.
Oh yeah, I get that. And but he said that he backs up and said he's had injuries and niggles, and then don't make the comment about him having to step up then if he's been injured and sick. You know, there's a reason for him. His performance is not being great. Then don't then say he needs to step up more. You've just told everyone he's been ill and injured and then gone, but he needs to step up more. If I was ill and injured, I probably wouldn't be putting in 100% performances in training either. So I don't know. There's little things there, but I don't.
Joe, can I give you my opinion?
Yeah.
I think you're back out.
I'm not anyone in or out. I want Leeds to do well. That's all I want. And if Daniel
You're
Farke
not
is
his
the guy
biggest fan, though.
I don't like his football. I'm bored to tears more often than not watching Leeds playing under him. But that's okay as long as we win. I don't care as long as we win. But when we don't win, we're always going to have this conversation because everyone is going to come back to that was a slog to get through. We didn't win. When we win, it's always fine because 3 points will negate any other conversation topic. But we got, and we've been here before where I've argued performances when we've won games and people have gone, wins a win, Jer, wins a win.
Yeah,
so right now it's like I don't give a shit about performance as long as Leeds pick up 3 points. But when they don't pick up 3 points, I'm going to pick holes in what he does because he needs to do better because he's got a £75 million squad. He's got a team that should be back to win this division. He should be in a better position than he was this time last year. Blah, 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 blah. Do more, do better. It wins. I don't care about anything else. Go win. I don't care if he's managing the team or the dinner lady's managing the team. As long as they're getting 3 points, I really don't care. I don't love any manager anymore. Leeds will have a new manager in 2 years, and then a year after, probably a new manager, and 2 years after that, another new manager. I'm not going to get invested in the managers anymore. Just do your job and get us up. That might be a bit Roy Keane, but just get on with your job, do your job, and get us promoted. Because we cannot be in this division next year. I'm less confident than I was, but I still think we've enough. I still think we've enough to get up. But I thought we were going to go up as champions, and I thought we'd go up comfortably. I don't think that as much anymore. I think we still have enough to get up, but I'm a little bit less confident than I was before.
Where you at, Matty? To finish up, where you at?
Just where I always am, mate. We'll finish top of league for me. I haven't seen all that change my mind. Like I say, games like this will come up, won't they? So, yeah, full trust in him, mate.
That's where I'm at as well. I just think, I'm not ready yet to even begin to be worried. I sort of predicted, I guess, that yesterday could happen, and it did happen. So
Said it, yeah.
I can't be that bothered about it, if that makes. Now, if we were to, yeah, of course. Now, the thing is, Joe, if we were to look at the end of the day, I wanted 12 from 12, and we've got 4. It's not good. I think if we were to say, I said this earlier, if we don't beat QPR and we come back and we don't get points, then I start to go, yeah, this isn't good now. This isn't good. But I just, I'm not there yet. Definitely.
I think we all expected us to win it, and you know, with our quality, and go win it off our own back, go dominate that league. Maybe we'll go up, Joe, based on the fact that everybody else just isn't as good, rather than us putting, you know, like a statement down and just blowing the league apart as we thought. It might just be a case of we just get over the line, and that's why there's a lot of fear in fans, because just getting over the line might mean, rather than being 10, 15 clear, we're only a couple, which means those last few games are going to be twitchy, and we know that Leeds tag. That's probably on everyone's mind. But I think we might, maybe we've just got to tone it down a bit. Like I were, same as you, will romp it, and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just get over the line. Because like I say, in and around the 85 to 90 points, we'll be there or thereabouts. We just wanted more, that's all.
Yeah.
Can I just say, ask Matt just one thing? Because Matt, I think you make great points all the time, mate. But
thanks, mate. Thank you.
Jump on this one. If I can remember it now, it's kind of in my second head. No, it's gone. Doesn't matter. Come back to it.
I was just going to say, on that, you know,
got nervous,
I know City's a bad example because they've lost 3 in a row, but there's been no real jeopardy in them winning the league, has there? Every year, there's always that inevitability. I don't like that in football. I'll be honest. I'm a bit of a psychopath. No, genuinely, I hate if we say we've won every game this year.
Don't tell me you wouldn't like us winning every game, Lockie.
I hate it, mate, because that's the beauty of sport and football is you actually don't really know. You can say they should win, but on the day anything can happen, and I love that. I'd rather we'd be top, but I'd rather it wouldn't be 20 points clear top. You know what I mean? I like the jeopardy. I like that side of sport. It gives you challenges. It gives you things to talk about, things to discuss.
Are you thinking now, Lockie? Come on, Leeds, show us what you've got on Saturday.
Exactly.
Are you, I'm saying that. Yeah,
that motivates me. That keeps me, you know. If we're 50 points clear, Joe be doing that every day, going, just another 3 points.
Yeah.
There's actually stuff to talk about. There's actually things to discuss, problems to solve. That's why I love football. That's why I've always loved it, and I do it all my life. You know what I mean? That's the good thing about it. Obviously, I think we'll go up. I think we'll finish top 2. I think we will, but I don't think it'll be easy, and I don't want it to be too. It can be easy, but not super easy. Do you know what I mean? I like a bit of a struggle. I like us to come through some bad times and get out of it. Like, remember Bielsa when we came out of that bad run? How good did that feel?
Yeah, it feels much better, doesn't it? It feels so much better.
Yeah. So that's just my thing.
The journey is always better than the destination.
Absolutely.
Just going to ask that question, actually. I was just going to ask. I remembered my point. I was just on Matt saying, if we don't romp the league, let's say we just win it because other teams just weren't as good. How much confidence does that give you, that squad going into a Premier League? That would worry me about, Christ, the whole squad needs overturning if that happens. Like
a lot do though, Joe, right?
I don't know. I don't really think that. Like, I think there's a decent foundation for a squad there. I think you definitely need to add some Premier League quality to this spine. That team, but
you need a
10,
striker.
8, 6, maybe.
You need a lot
of players. Fill the gaps. Yeah. But the thing I was going to say is, the destination is better than the journey. Like, if we don't have a confident run into the finish of the season and go up with it, you know, even if it's second, but it's a gap. Grand, you're like, okay, this is a good side. We can go into the Premier League next year. We add a couple, we'll be okay. So we know the Premier League's going to be dog shit for a couple of years because it is dog shit. Look at the Ipswich fans this year, all sending us messages saying we're sorry. It's terrible up here. I told you. The other thing I want to ask real quick is, I'll just mention real quick, and this is what Lockie was saying about losing games and maybe wanting to lose the odd game just because it gives you a kick up the backside as well and gets you refocus, is you learn from losses, you learn nothing from a win. People win games, and I was always told this as a player when I had managers, and I've been talking to my nephew. He lost the game last week. He's only 9, but he lost the game and he was very disrupted. I just disheartened about the whole thing, and I just said to him, my manager used to always say to me when I was your age, you learn from a loss, you win nothing from a win. When you come away from a win, it's well done, pat on the back, we all did great. That's the job done. You've learned nothing. You've not talked about it, and that's what we do when we come on these shows and we talk about Leeds winning games comfortably. There's very little to talk about. It's usually over 20 minutes and we're out the door. We're an hour and 10 minutes in because Leeds lost the game, because we're learning about why Leeds lost that game, and that's the whole point of it. Is the more we look at these performances, the more we see where the cracks are in this side, the more we should then be looking at the manager and the coaching staff of going, right,
100%. And
you can fix that now, go fix it.
And that's why I love this, and because it's cathartic as well, right? Because without speaking to yous, which I do offline on here, I'm stuck in my own thinking. Which, you know, like when we spoke, like Matty spoke to me earlier, I spoke to Lockie, I spoke to Joe sent me mentioned about, well, you shouldn't be feeling that way, and it has made me think, actually, I shouldn't be at halftime thinking we're just going to lose this game now. I should be thinking, right, what's the manager going to do? But I just didn't. Even against Plymouth second half. And I heard a lot of people say this that were in the ground. I listened to Leeds that. They all said it. They all expected Leeds United not to do anything in the second half. It's game over. And it's like, should we be wanting more? Maybe, and maybe am I too. So, yeah, that's what these shows and conversations are always good for, to test your own thinking.
Are we still waiting on that statement win that we've been waiting on for 2 years?
I think it came against Sheffield United.
Sheffield United.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I do think
4 or 5 goals past the team, like take a poor side and take them to the cleaners. Like,
well, QPR
have
been getting battered.
Manager said today it's a big game.
Yeah.
But Farkas said in his press conference, it's a big game. We can't underestimate them. And like Daniel, I sometimes just say we're good and we're going to go smash them. You know, sometimes give us something.
There's conversation starting on Cifuentes though as well, like about him potentially losing his job. So it is a big game for them as well. And
yeah.
But we owe them one. They slapped us 4-0. They slapped us 4-0.
We owed them.
Yes,
we owed them. They're second from bottom. They're in an incredibly awful run of form right now.
Yes,
and if we don't go and slap them. And again, you're right on that thing as well. I want to see Leeds when they're 3-0 up at half time, at least add one more in the second half. You know, just go and finish the game off. Just go and give us something. If nothing else, I mean, Farka talks about, you know, well, the fans are here and we got to please the fans. Well, give them something to watch then in the second half. Like you're 2-0 up against Watford, you took the foot off the gas after 10 minutes. You took the foot off the gas against Bristol City, you took the foot off the gas against Plymouth. Games where you could have gone and really put a number against the side and you didn't, because you just decided we're going to take the tempo down now a bit. And that has to change, because it makes me feel the manager's a little bit nervous. And then when he says things about he was worried when we were 2-0 up after 10 minutes against Watford. Like, why would you say something like that? If I'm 2-0 up against Watford for 10 minutes, I'm going to go, right, let's keep going. Same as we are, keep going. Don't change anything. See where we are at half time. Let's go and keep doing what we're doing. It's working. But there's these shackles go on the players and it's pulled right back again of going, oh no, hang on, just relax. I don't always know if it's a manager decision or a player decision, but that's what I'm talking about, a statement. When I'd like to see Leeds just go and put a couple of goals past the team early on and just keep going. I'm not saying you're going to put 10 past somebody, but if you're 3-0 up at half time, make it 4-0. If you're 2-0 up at half time, make it 3.
Is it fair to say, Joe, for the fans, when we're 3-0 up at home at half time, we'd rather it be 5-1 than stay 3-0? Where Farka just wants it. Do you know what I mean? Why not go for it? We've already got a 3-goal buffer. Why not make it 5? We can see it's 5-1. Better than 3-0 with a ball in 45, isn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, he gets it 20 minutes left and it's still that way. Fine. Now you're into game management mode. Your last 20 minutes of the game is either manage the game out, make a change if you need to change the game, but you're in that mode. Fine. If you want to manage the game out with 20 minutes ago, fine. But give us something in the second half when we're winning the game comfortably. Or when they do start fast and on fire. Let them go for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Managers have to appreciate that we're fans. We want to be entertained.
Yeah.
That's football. At the end of the day, we strip it all away, it's entertainment. That's all it is. They need to understand that. I know their methods might not agree with that. They just want to win and make it comfortable. But there's times where, you know, they've got to go, yeah, it is a bit quiet in here. I've got up the game. I want these fans to really believe in what I'm doing. The tickets are going on general sale. There's obviously other reasons for that as well. But you know for a fact, under a certain other manager that might play a more risky style of football, but proper free-flowing football, they ain't going on general sale. They're going out straight away. Yeah. So that's a style of play. That's a personal preference that, you know, people love at Leeds because of Bielsa. That really quick style of football. We love it. And that's the way it is, I'm afraid.
Can you remember, was it last season when Jorginho, I think he nutmegged someone or did a pirouette or mugged someone off, and then Farka sort of told him not to stop. That sort of, crazy.
He stopped Ramazani doing a backflip as well. He stopped Tanaka doing long balls into corner flags. I'm like, why are you taking the fun out of the players? Stop taking the fun out of them. We want the fun. We were all happy last year with Georgie losing the ball in stupid areas because you knew he was going to do something magic in a minute, you know? So you're okay because he got you off your arse and he got you excited. It's very hard to get off your arse and get excited now. You know, it's just, it feels like transactional football. It means like we're going to get the ball, we're going to dominate possession, we'll get 2-0 up, we'll shut down. It might be 2-1, might be 2-0. That'll be the end of that. And we move on to the next game. But I want to get out. I want to be excited by football. I want to be entertained by it. I want to watch Leeds and be like, yeah, that's us. That's our side. Like, look at us going out and just getting stuck into teams. Looking at us losing 50-50s and the amount that we lost last night to Millwall, that's not Leeds. Where's the bite? Where's the nibble? Where's the aggression? Where's all that gone? And we talked at the start of the season, Lockie, about that as well, but there's just not as much aggression in this side as we'd like. And I think it's a problem. I want to see players pissed off that we're passing the ball tippy-tappy around the back. I want to see someone going, stop going backwards with the fucking ball. You know, I want to see us take chances, but how many times last night did the ball come back to somebody and they just turned around and went back to Melier with it from the opposition half of the pitch? And even the commentary team is saying Leeds do that a lot. And then they've noticed something that other teams aren't doing. And it's possession for possession's sake. It's just keep the ball at all costs. I want to see Leeds with possession with purpose. I want to see Leeds have possession to do something with it at the end of it, not just to keep the ball. And it's not exciting, fast, or aggressive enough for that. And it has been there this year. I know it's in them. I want to see more of that. That will get everyone happy. And that will win us more games. I really believe that.
I do think keeping possession of the football was the right tactic last night, had they have not scored, though. It was.
But I think the argument we're having, Joe, is do you love that?
No, I'm not. No, yeah. Well,
yeah,
no.
yeah. So that's it. Obviously, like from a coach's perspective and from our perspective, we want to win football. Of course we do. But we also want to be proper entertained watching it as well. I think that's a fair argument. Like I said, everyone has a different opinion on a style. People like this, people like that. Yeah, the Millwall fans probably absolutely love the way they play. If we did that at Leeds, we'd hate it. You know, it's just the way it is. Some people hate possession for slow. I think people hate Pep's football. You know what I mean? Some people absolutely love it. I
get bored watching it.
I get bored,
but it's really good. But it's boring, right? That's Jurgen Klopp's football was unbelievable to watch. Bielsa's football unbelievable to watch. But they did leak goals and they did lose titles and championships because of the way they played. You know, this is why we love the sport, though. Everyone's got a different opinion on what they want to watch.
Yeah, 100%. That's fair. Yeah, listen, lit show tonight. Amazing show. It was heated. It was.
Sorry, got carried away.
Say sorry, bro. I enjoyed it. I love that. I love that.
I don't.
I love that. I know you don't. I know. You won't see Joe.
You don't. Joe knows you don't. That's why.
I'll overthink the crap out of this for a week now. We won't see me on.
We won't see Joe now for a couple of weeks. Okay, just so you're aware. All right.
I'll overthink this and I'll overthink the comments in the chat. And I won't.
It was great. Yeah. Like the amount of comments we've had saying this was an amazing show. This is what people like. And I like getting into it as well.
I know. Yeah. I would agree on that. I was very wrong, wasn't I?
Listen, folks.
And then I start writing it down, and now I'm like, I regret doing that completely.
No, but that's what it's about, right? It's passion. It is, yeah. Passion for your football club. Listen, smash a like on the video. Listen, go check out Matty at Imagine Not Being Leeds. Did you do Final Pint before, or are you going after?
Straight after this.
Okay, I bet you're late, aren't you? The Leeds
on only Leeds Bros channel, so get over there if you.
Okay, are they still in Spain?
One of them is, other one's at home. Darren's in Spain, Dilo's at home. Yeah,
there we go. Big up. So go over to only Leeds Bros. Once you get, is it 1,000 subscribers, you get to do the redirect?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is. When you get there, we'll do. Yeah, only Leeds Bros saying hurry up, Matt. So we'll go over there and watch that. Lockie Leeds, have you put any content out? No, you're still annoyed. Honestly, folks, what you see Lockie at such is like placid, you know, he's cool. When we lose games, the guy he's fuming. Trust me.
Andrea has to tell me to calm down.
Yes, he's fuming to the point when you don't see content, you know he's fuming, right? And Joe is just doing Joe things, smashing it out of the park. So make sure you check out Leeds United The View for all your Leeds United news. And yeah, tomorrow I'll have a preview out. And then obviously game day Saturday. And then it's international break. Back in 14 days with no graft.
last one.
Yeah, at least it's the last one. There is that. There is that. There you go. Oliver's put it in the chat. Go click that now. You'll go on over there. Can hit live. Go watch it. It's great to see new faces and new ideas and new creators. Yeah, great. And it's nice to have more Irish people in the space as well, man, because Leeds have a massive following in Ireland. So yeah, we just need some more females in the space, man. Evie's out there on her own. If you're a female watching this, give it a go because yeah, there needs to be more. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye, folks.